as a continent has now defined ourselves.
In the news, heavy flood swept 2 children away, killed 4 people in Abidjan. President Buhari mulls state pardon for Saruwiwa and 8 other Ogoni leaders. Wimbledon champion Ashleigh Barty pulled out of season-ending WTA Finals to focus on Australian summer. Details shortly. This is TOS Television, your digital-first Pan-African news network. I am Merciful Ajinamo, and you're watching TOS News 360. We begin with Africa, where flooding from heavy rains in Ivory Coast economic capital Abidjan swept away 2 children and killed at least 4 people on Friday. According to firefighters, 8 victims, including 4 dead and 4 wounded, were registered in Miskro, a poor area of Abidjan. A video which circulated online showed the flood sweeping away a number of properties in its path, including a car. Following weeks of temporarily stopping an international NGO from working in Burkina Faso, where jihadist attacks have flourished since 2015, claiming over 2,000 lives, Burkina Faso finally lifts ban on Norwegian Refugee Council after accusing the body of discrediting the government. The country had banned the NRC on September 27th after accusing it of discrediting the government and saying it had stopped NGOs from registering internally displaced people in the most inaccessible zones. The NRC in mid-September had said government authorities took weeks to register displaced people to allow them to source food and other aid, thereby forcing them to return to dangerous zones. As the crisis in Sudan's troubled transition from authoritarian rule deepens, huge crowds of people marched in several parts of Khartoum, the Sudanese capital, and other cities on Thursday. The protesters were this time demonstrating against the prospect of military rule. Rebel groups and political parties have reportedly aligned themselves with the military, a development civilian leaders say could lead to a coup, and that the military aims to install a government it can control. Since the removal of President Omar al-Bashir in 2019 in a popular uprising after 3 decades of rule, the military has shared power with civilian parties in a transitional authority. A presidential decree on Friday in Tunisia is imposing COVID-19 passes on Tunisians and all foreign visitors. According to the decree, officials, employees and users are required to show a card proving inoculation against the coronavirus to access public and private administrations, including entering cafes, restaurants, hotels and tourist establishments. The decree shows that the jobs of employees who did not receive vaccination in the public and private sectors will be suspended until the vaccine pass is presented. And now to Nigeria. According to a local government spokesman Yahaya Sarki in a statement, 30 students of the federal government college Birnin Yauri, who were released from the abductors late Friday evening, have arrived Birnin Kebbi, the Kebbi State capital, after spending 4 months in bandits' den. No fewer than 1,000 school children have been kidnapped since December in Africa's most populous nation by heavily armed gunmen. It was reported that gunmen attacked the federal government college in Kebbi on June 17. This is your digital-first Pan-African news network, TOS Television, and you are watching TOS News 360. More national stories plus global and sport when we return. Stay with us. Thanks for staying. Crisis may be brewing in Nigeria's main opposition political party, the People's Democratic Party, following threats by the party's court-suspended national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus, to stop the planned national convention slated for October 30th and 31, 2021. TOS News learned that attempts by Senator David Mark-led 8-member committee to find an amicable solution to the conflict between Secondus and the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike have yielded no result. A new dimension to the conflict surfaced on Friday, with the lawyers to Secondus insisting that the appeal filed by their client against his suspension was still pending in court. President Buhari mulls state pardon for Saruwiwa and 8 other Ogoni leaders, and while playing host to some leaders and people of Ogoni at the presidential villa Abuja, he said he will consider granting state pardon for for Ken Saro-Wiwa and 8 other Ogoni leaders who were executed by the then military government led by Sani Abacha on November 10, 1995. Accused of being responsible for the murder of 4 Ogoni chiefs at a pro-government meeting, Saro-Wiwa and the others were sentenced to death by hanging by a special military tribunal. The U.S. says more than 1.7 million migrants were detained along its border with Mexico in the past 12 months, says it is the highest number ever recorded. According to data from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, more than 1 million of the migrants were expelled to Mexico or their native countries. President Joe Biden's popularity in opinion polls has been sinking partly as a result of his immigration policy. Just 35% of Americans said they approved of his handling of the issue in an Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs research survey earlier this month. China has passed an education law aimed at reducing the pressures of excessive homework and intensive after-school tutoring, state media say. Parents are being asked to ensure their children have reasonable time for rest and exercise and do not spend too much time online. In August, China banned written exams for 6- and 7-year-olds. Officials warned at the time that students' physical and mental health was being harmed. And now to sport. World number 1 and Wimbledon champion Ashleigh Barty have pulled out of the season-ending WTA Finals Saturday, opting to remain at home and focus on preparing for the Australian summer. The Australian has not played since a shock third-round loss at the US Open in September and has now formally ended the year that earned her 5 titles, including a second major at Wimbledon after her French Open triumph in 2019. Barty won the WTA Finals in 2019 before last year's version was cancelled because of the coronavirus pandemic. And that is TOS News 360 on your digital first Pan-African news network. For more updates, visit www.TOSTVNetwork.com. Follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on the network. I am Merciful Ajinomo. Many thanks for watching.
But we as a continent have now